Scottie, thank you so much for joining us. You started the day leading by 1, ended it by 4. What pleased you most about your play today?
Well, I think a clean card around a major championship golf course is always nice, and keeping it with no bogeys is always a good thing, and that's why I was able to shoot a red number today.
Relatively quiet start with 6 pars while others were making birdies. How important was this approach to 7 to set up the eagle and give you some momentum to build on?
Yeah, it was nice. I felt like I was doing some good things to start the round. I just wasn't getting the results, but felt like I was doing the right things, and so I just kept trying to do that. It was nice to judge that shot right going in there and hold a nice putt.
You've led into all the 3 majors that you've won. You're leading again tomorrow. What's the most valuable thing that you've learned from all those experiences that you can use tomorrow?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just staying patient with myself. I know what I need to do tomorrow, and it's all, it's just really a matter of going out and doing it. And, tomorrow will be a challenging day, but a fun day, and, I'm looking forward to it.
What would it mean to you to win the Open Championship, the most historic of all the major championships?
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun, but at the end of the day, that's not what I'm going to be thinking about when I step up on the first tee or as I go to sleep tonight. I'm going to be thinking about trying to execute, and, when I'm going to sleep tonight, I hopefully won't have too much on my mind. I'll just fall asleep and, get some recovery and get ready for tomorrow.
Appreciate your time as ever. Well played today.
Thanks.
We told you, didn't we? We did tell you. We told you what it would be like. All joking aside, actually, tell us from a professional, because we know this. I'm not saying it's a tactic, but the normalisation, when Tim asks a question like that, we know where we're going. What we'd love is for a player to go, you know what? It will make my life. I will never be the same person again. I will cry. I will be emotional. It will change my life forever. And of course, they don't generally. Some of them lean into it a little bit. Rory is a leaner into that a little bit. Scottie is so far from that. Why do they do that?
It's interesting. Paul McGinley told me years ago that, when he kind of saw some of the stuff that I did at the PGA, and I didn't really mean to, Lee Trevino was the best at it, deflecting, not making it about myself, especially when Trevino played against Nicklaus. Always, I got no chance. I'm going to the greatest player in the world. And I think that he, in his own certain way, Scheffler's almost deflecting some of maybe what all this means to him. You kind of get the sense in a little bit where he can't be so numb to winning, especially the major championships, because we've seen how he reacts. He talked about waking up before he won his first Masters crying, saying, I'm not too sure if I'm worthy of this. Listen, he wants this in the worst possible way. But again, I get this sense of deflection where he's just trying to say, this doesn't mean that much to me, but inside you got to think it means a lot more than what he's leading on to.
Mm-hmm. Iona, just going back to what we were talking about a second.
Yeah.
When he sort of talked it down a little bit about what it means, is it sort of the fact that he has a higher purpose? We know he's a very religious guy, his faith is massively important to him, but probably more so than that, his family is massively important to him. Mm-hmm. Does it give you strength to have perspective in these really quite, look, it's not life and death out here, but it's scary. There's a lot of people around the world watching. Do you think it has a real benefit to a player like Scottie for it to not mean maybe quite as much to him, as he puts it, as it does to so many out there?
Yeah, well, I think Beamer makes a really good point. How much does it mean? That's what we don't really know the answer to. We heard from him earlier in the week, and that's what we were just touching on before his interview. And his comments were really intriguing. I don't think we've heard the end of that, and I think we don't know the answer to that about how much it means. But we've seen the way that these professional golfers, have moved in the time where now they are working, with such detail on themselves physically. They have a team for everything, and they are doing the same mentally, psychologically. They are finely tuned, and of course this is going to mean so much to him. The moment could just swallow him up tomorrow. And I wonder as well, there's been so much of McIlroy this year winning the Grand Slam. He's the world number 1, and as soon as Rory did that, we saw Scottie Scheffler bounce back and go, hang on a minute, this is my stage, how very dare you? And he came right back into the frame. We're in McIlroy territory here. We're in Northern Ireland. Scottie knew he was coming here to compete against the field, McIlroy and Northern Ireland. And that has to be hard. It can't not be hard.
Yeah.
So I think that really, he's playing it to the media in one way. I think it does mean a lot to him. He's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go and get a good night's sleep. I think there'll be a bit of tossing and turning there tonight because it's the claret jug in the end of the day. This is the Open Championship, and there's no denying he wants the Grand Slam, and he wants to be the guy that's stealing the headlines instead of Rory McIlroy.
I think he'll certainly steal a few headlines if he gets the job done here. Just to finish that off, and to be fair to Scottie, because you can always pick the bits out of these quotes, can't you, to suit your story. Let's tell the other side. I love to win, he also said, and I hate to lose. Emotive words. How does he tap into that as a competitor?
Well, I think he wakes up every single day saying, listen, everything I've done over the last years, leading into this, this is what I have to do. I have to go out there and win. There was a point yesterday where I was watching and I looked at his demeanor on his face, and he was bright-eyed, and he had this laser focus on every single shot, it seemed like, in the back nine yesterday, and he was so dialed in. And I just thought, you know what, that's a guy who wants to win in the worst way. Irregardless of how he feels the next day, he wants the prize at the end of the day, just to say, well, I've got this, you guys don't. Nanny, nanny, boo, boo, something like that. It's almost like that, isn't it? I mean, it literally is almost like, he's out there, he's showing off.